Welcome to Behind the Buzzwords with Tracy Eames, Arielle Morton, and Yanta Haynes, where we expand on marketing terms, tactics, and strategies in a more digestible way for entrepreneurs and business owners. Our goal is to debunk the marketing myths, remove scary barriers, and have a damn good time doing it. So take a seat and buckle up because you're in for a fun ride.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Behind the Buzzwords. We are super excited to talk about Arielle's favorite topic this week, email marketing. That's right. So we're calling this episode Inbox Gold. So how do you unveil the secrets to effective email marketing? We've talked about email marketing before. We all love email marketing, so you're going to hear us be very excited about this. I believe before we started this, Yanta said it was her favorite way to connect with people. She can edit that if I'm wrong. But I'm here with Arielle and Yanta to hear all their great ideas on email marketing. How y'all doing today?
Doing amazing today.
It's a good day.
Yeah. Well, we'll probably have some book recommendations for you. So just as a friendly reminder, make sure you check out our show notes. I am keeping a growing list here. If you ever see me put my head down, I'm probably taking a note or adding something to my bookstore cart. We're ready to hopefully answer some questions and also share some new insights. So, Arielle, just because I actually met you, when I met you, you sort of always talked about email marketing. And I was like, man, this woman knows a lot about email marketing. I should always ask her my email marketing questions. So we're going to ask you, our listeners' first question, which is, why the heck do you like email marketing so much?
I love email marketing because I feel like it is a great way to both build and nurture a relationship and grow that like, no trust, build on the values, and really get to know your folks on a more intimate and personal level. Because when you think about emails, like, you're not emailing everyone and their mother. Emails are typically like your job, really important factors in your life. Maybe your family might use it. Like, it's usually, I mean, we all have that junk email, but I'm talking about your real email where you're utilizing it for personal stuff. Unlike social media, no shade to social media, but unlike social media, where everyone's on there doing all things. So they could be there for business, they could be there for pleasure, they could be there for entertainment, they could be there to live vicariously through people that are on trips. A little personal because that's me, but they could be doing several different things on there, so it's not as personal because everyone there is there and everyone has access. And so I feel like in the email, in your inbox, it's gold because you get to email them when you want. You get to ask more personal, intimate questions where they're more likely to be raw and authentic, unlike on a public sector where everyone can see their responses. You get to really be able to ask them for that feedback, contact them as often as you want, unlike social media or unlike other ways. And so that's why I truly love the email and the inbox, because I feel like it has such a variety, and it's truly, it has one of the largest ROI. For every dollar you put in, you get back between, I think, 32 and 45 in that ROI. And that's crazy high in comparison to other avenues for marketing. So that's why I love email so much. I think it's straight up gold.
Awesome. Before we move on, we're going to define the buzzword that Arielle keeps dropping, ROI, return on investment. It's an important one. It's an important one. If you're getting 30 to 1, you're doing something right. So,
right.
Go ahead, Yanta.
I'm just over here shining and glowing and smiling because this is one of my favorite topics, and it's I think it comes from me as a child. I had the relationship with my auntie, who was actually my godmother, and one of the things is she used to say, "Don't ask me for nothing if you can't communicate with me, if you can't talk to me." Like, so we have a habit of asking people to do stuff for us and never interacting with them, never talking to them. And when I remember when I was a kid, I used to write letters to my auntie, mail them off to her. Back then in the day, we got stamps, y'all. Stamps do still exist. Although mine was probably 23 cents at that time. And she would send it back to me with corrected red marks. But she also sent it back to me with $5. So I used to send those back and forth. And I say this story to say that back in the days, I learned that you just don't go asking people for stuff. And when you go into the inbox, people literally raised their hand and said, I want to continue to interact with you. I want to see what you're about. And I think this is really, really great for introverts because believe it or not, introverts doesn't mean they're not thought provocative. They don't talk. They don't interact. They just have to do it in their own way. And most introverts are always thinking about something. And what the email box allows us to do is share a little bit more with you and be more personable with you as an introvert because now we can really get our thoughts down, but we don't have to do it but hit it one time and send it off, and it can go to many people who needs to see that thought, so we don't have to interact one by one by one by one and be drained, but you get to understand us a little bit more. And inside of those emails, you get to brighten someone's day because there's so many people out there. All your emails don't have to be sales emails. There's so many different type of emails you send there. You do sales emails, you do educational emails, you can just do family emails. Let somebody know. Some people send affirmations and empowerment emails out to their people every day, and they typically look for those emails. And that one day that you send an email telling the people about your story and how your services or your products help them, or what made you start your service or your product, you could have just changed a life for someone who needed to read that I'm not alone. And I believe we have a tendency not to reach and raise our hand when we need help, when we need someone to talk to. Sometimes your emails are talking directly to someone who needed to talk to you that day and couldn't go to their friends, couldn't do their family because they feel all alone in this journey by themselves. But your one email ignited something inside them. So when we talk about email, we're not talking about, like Arielle said, we're not talking about spam email. We're not talking about junk email. And we're not definitely talking about sending emails to people who do not ask for your emails. We're talking about people who want to generally be in your ecosystem and love you and be around you. And I use the word love because love is such a strong and powerful energy. Just the megahertz on love is over 548. So when you receive love and someone else receives love, they feel connected to others. And that's what your emails do. We now have a ability to connect with people in international countries, that we can get to know about another culture, another business, another activity from somewhere far away where I thought I would never know anything about. Can you imagine that? Just the thought of connecting to people who you would never connect to, but they get to understand where you come from, understand your big why and why you do your business. So that's why it's gold about email marketing. Unfortunately, a lot of people don't take advantage of it. People are literally wanting to be invited into their home, wanting you to open up the door so that they can get to know you better and you get to know them better. Like Arielle said, you can ask them questions just as well because they want you to do that. They didn't just jump in to be sold to. That's just one part of email marketing that gets a bad rep. So that's why people don't really like to do it. It's great to get it, but you can even just share your life with them where they's like, I needed this. I needed to know I exist to your company. I needed to know I exist to somebody. And so that's what I think email marketing means to me, Tracy. I know I went into a lot of tantrum, but I just, it's the connection that it brings that I think we sometimes tend to miss because you can shoot a whole bunch of them off. But it's the true connection in email, the true thoughts that you put in, and that goes to that copyright and how do you dress it? How do you focus it into that client and letting them know that we understand, we heard your concerns. We see you. And I also want you to see me too.
I love all of that. And I also hate email. So I'm going to say that just like really loud.
You're so controversial here, y'all.
I love it.
No, because I hear you talk about it and I'm like, wow, I have none of those feelings about email. Like, I don't. Like, I'm like, wow, it's a lot of love. I love that. I'm like, I want to get Yanta's emails. Those sound amazing. The reason why I don't like email is a few things. One, I think email marketing, and I agree with both of you, it's one of the most effective ways to connect with people, and it is one of the most effective marketing tactics. Personally, I don't feel like I do it well. One, I just don't like email as a human being. I'm terrible. I don't answer emails. If you ever are my friends like these two, you know, if you want to talk to me, you should probably text me. I will answer your text message. I will. There's a high likelihood that I might leave your email in my inbox for like 5 months until somebody on my team reminds me that you've emailed me, and then I should probably email you back. Like, I really am terrible as a human at email. And then it's even worse because some people are like, you want to use Slack? And I'm like, no, I don't. Like, I don't want any more ways. Like, why can't we just use the phone and the text? Like, that's me personally. Now, the reason why I know email marketing is super successful is because I have subscribed to a lot of emails and I never unsubscribe from them if they give me valuable information, right? Like, I might delete 30 straight emails from a brand, but I see a heading or a subject line that's like really interesting to me and I'm like, Yahtzee, let's open this one, right? Like, and that's why email I think is so effective, and I think that's why you ladies are correct, is because you have the ability to set up one automation, right? If you're doing it well, you can sort of have like, hey, somebody signs up for my email list and then they get this welcome series, right? So they get an email that says thanks for signing up, and then they automatically get an email that says like, this is a little bit more about my brand, and maybe they get one about your services and yada yada yada, right? They have like this whole thing, and you can like write them once, put them in your email system, and like have them automatically sent to people. So like, love that, right? Then you can have ad hoc ones like Yanta's talking about. Maybe like you do a weekly newsletter, and like that's a little bit of a higher effort, but as long as you're consistent, great. And then every once in a while, if something's super important to you, you can like drop a note about it, right? Like you can be like, hey, I just had this random thought and I'm going to email it to you. And the whole time, everybody gets to choose whether they are opting in or opting out, right? At the beginning, they were choosing to opt in. During the entire process, like they have an unsubscribe button. They can like unsubscribe if they want to go all the way to the other end, or they can just like be like me and delete or not open half the emails they get, right? But like, that's why I love it as a marketing tool, and I totally agree with you. I just wanted to start off a little controversial, like, because I think it's important for people to know, like, just because you hate email like I do doesn't mean that the rest of the world does. Like, the rest of the world actually enjoys this form of communication and they find it super helpful. And so I just want to mention that because I think sometimes we sort of think about ourselves and like what we enjoy, and we don't remember that there's, I think, what are we up to? 8 billion people, 9 billion people in this world that might have other preferences, and there might be a different way we connect with them. So I think it's helpful to kind of ask your customers what they want and how they want to receive communication. But I also wouldn't sleep on email. Like, I would try it out, see what happens, right? Like, again, you don't have to try it out, but you know, before you write it off, you could test it out in a small way and test it out in a way that you think you can be consistent, because you know that'll kind of give you some data to go on. But yeah, also never email me.
Yeah, on that note, I think we don't talk about it enough here, but we're going to talk about it today. Also, email is money. We're going to talk about the money aspect of it. Like, yes, it's the love, good feelings and stuff like that, but email's money. So the question is how big you want your cash register to be? Just like Tracy said she sees plenty of emails and she just delete. She's looking for that one email that speaks to her and say, hey, Tracy, I need this today. I need to buy this. I need to purchase this, or I needed to hear this information. And if she has a choice, and we talk about that last session, agency of who you are, you have a choice to do what you want with the emails. So you know that when you sign up for an email, or they sign up for your emails, they know that they're going to eventually be sold to, because they know if you're a functional working business and you're not using it as a hobby and you just want to shoot out emails to people, then they know that they're going to be sold to.
That will never be my hobby, just for the record.
And if you know you're going to be sold to, that's not a problem. They don't have a problem with you selling to them. They do. Some people do have a problem with you overselling to them and you're not speaking to them. And e-commerce emails are different than service and product based service emails, because e-commerce emails, you're looking for discount codes, you're looking for percentages off. So those are emails that you're going to be sold to more 90% of the time, and 10% you probably just get some information, some good stuff about what the company's doing, social responsibility stuff that they got going on, or events and stuff. But on the personal brand side of the house, you're going to get some interactive emails with has some of this, some of that, and some sales. So I just want to tell people out there who's listening, be respectful for the people who's selling, because they're growing their business. And that's the only way we can grow our business, is by selling to you. The second thing I want to say about the emails is remember, sometimes you can be in someone's ecosystem for over 7 to 8 years. Your timing of what that email is providing and what's given might not be the time for you. That's why we don't unsubscribe to a lot of emails, is because right now I don't need what you're giving me. But who knows, 6 months later, I might be in a place where whatever problem you solve, I need it solved now. And so don't think just because you send an email out today, you're going to get a whole bunch of people going to buy your stuff. That's not how it works. Is it a need for them at this time? Is this a problem that needs to be solved? And then, so I say that because sometimes we look for quick fixes in the marketing place. None of the marketing stuff is a quick fix, and it's a hidden perception that you can make $1 million with one ebook, or you can make $1 million with one viral email. You can make $1 million just setting up your website and going live. It doesn't work that way. You have to intentionally engage with the people that you're engaging with. So just remember, email is not a quick fix. It's a long-term journey, just like the stock market. You're investing in customers at a later time. And so that's why email marketing is so effective. Because if you say you're about to launch a new book and they've been in your ecosystem for 3 years, they probably were going to pay attention to the book and want to hear more knowledge about you because your emails have been very good to them. And then from that, you do it, they're going to continue to buy what you do because now they trust you for real, because you're not giving out crap to them. You're giving out valuable information that they can use or share to someone else. Because I forward emails to people. I save emails for things that I see, because some people are like, oh, that's a very thought-provocative thing that person said. That's very controversial. Probably Tracy emails are probably controversial, y'all. So
Tracy doesn't send a lot of emails.
That's why they controversial. That's what she's saying. She means exactly what she's saying right now. But yeah, so I just wanted to remind the audience of email marketing is a long-term ordeal, but like Arielle say, it has a high return on investment because you're investing for the future. And sometimes we get stuck in the quick action and quick return that we forget that you're trying to grow your business for 5, 10, 15 years. And you need those people in that ecosystem to continue to grow, because that's the only thing that you own. You don't own Facebook. You don't own, well, we already know Facebook goes down now. It don't prove to you twice that you can wake up in the morning and think somebody hijacked your account and it's just Facebook. TikTok issue. People were excelling in TikTok. But you see the controversy with that platform right now. It might be going away. I know it said it's going away, but it's still kicking it now. So it might be going away. So those are things that you do not own, but you do own your email list. I actually literally, and not advocating for this all the time, but I literally know someone who sold their business, and the most important part of their business was their email list. That's what sold the company, was their email list, along with the structure, the foundation of the business.
Yeah, I think that the thing that I try to keep in mind about email is, this builds on what you were saying, Yanta, is emails for me is a very specific part of the funnel. It's like the end of the funnel, right? Like, people aren't learning about you through your email. They've probably signed up for your email because they know you a little bit, right? Like, you've done some stuff up here at the top of the funnel to build enough awareness that people are like, yeah, I'll consider you. And by considering you, I mean, I'm going to sign up for your emails. And then, like, what I try to do is send them some helpful tips and like make it worthwhile for them. So like the first few emails they would get from us would be just like tips and tricks, right? Like things we think about, episodes of podcasts we think people might be interested in, just free stuff that they might find interesting. Now, some of that might spark them and be like, wow, we really do need somebody to help us with strategic planning. We should probably call this company. Other times, to your point, like, they're not calling, right? They're just taking the tips, and that's great, because like one of our big ethos as a company is we actually want to change the way that teams operate. So for me to live into my mission, I kind of have to give away a lot of free information because not everybody wants to buy coaching and consulting, right? And so we just sort of think about it as the way to keep that relationship going, also to help us achieve our mission, and also, and I'd love to hear your perspective on this, Arielle, a way to like test content that people might actually like, right? Like if a headline does particularly well in email, we're like, oh, or like if we're going to launch a new program, we'll probably tell it about the people who like us the most and know us the most. And if we get no click-throughs, we're probably like, well, they don't really want that service, right? Like it just helps us learn stuff that we wouldn't normally know about because we have a really great audience that is pretty clear with what they want. Now, our responsibility in that, to your point, Yanta, is we don't over email them. It's never a risk with me over emailing. But like, we try to be really respectful. Obviously, they can opt in. They can, they can delete whatever they want. They can unsubscribe. Like, we just try to be super like cautious with how many we sell. Now, that's not everybody's approach, but it's our approach. And so, I don't know. Arielle, I just love to hear like how you think about it in terms of your other marketing and like maybe how you use it as like a testing ground.
I think it's actually the best testing ground. What I'm getting ready to say, you can do in your website and stuff too, but on your email, it's constant, ever flowing. People are communicating with you ongoing. And so you can test things down to the subject lines, A/B testing. You can test the font. You can test the topic. You can test the CTA. You can test the language. You can test the offer, like you said. Like there's just so much you can test in email and get that immediate response. Unlike social media, because you can't really tell what's happening with it. Although you might have high engagement, you're still not seeing you're still not seeing people go into the inbox and actually buy the thing that you want. Although people are commenting, you don't really know what the algorithm is going to like or not like. They're changing it all the time. And so in your inbox, you can test a lot of the verbiage that you want to try out on your sales page, try out in the community on Facebook. You can get that immediate feedback. You can ask people what do they want. You can ask people what have they enjoyed, and you can test. It's just so much you can do in the email. And I agree. Understanding your audience, there needs to be a flow to things. You shouldn't be you don't necessarily need to email someone 5 times a week unless that's just what you're like, is that's what they signed up for, which some people, there is like 365-day motivational email each morning for you to be able to get up out of bed and go and do what you need to do. You know what I'm saying? Like they're the business journal. There are so many things that do come in each and every day, but other brands can email as little as once a week. You know what I'm saying? Like it doesn't need to be often, and it does really matter to your brand and how you're speaking to them and what's really happening. So for me, I personally feel like it's great for so much. And like Yanta said, like you're not just selling, you're nurturing, you're communicating. You wake up one day and you're going to talk about this crazy thing that happened to you and why it feeds back into what you do and why you do it. It's really fun. Like honestly, like all jokes aside, like it's really so much fun because you can put together the craziest story for your email and you'll see how your folks reply, or you'll see how your folks respond to it with the interaction and the open rates. Especially like she said, she'll see that headline, she'll see this subject line and she's like, "Ooh, that is good. What's in here?" And I don't mean it like on a clickbaity situation. Like we don't clickbait. Don't clickbait. Like, give what you're gonna give. You say you're gonna give it in your subject line. Please offer it in the freaking email. Don't just do it to get the open rate, because that doesn't change anything. It doesn't bring up your sales ultimately. So I just really love it. I really do enjoy it. Another big thing I like to talk about, what Yanta touched on, is that, unsubscribing and stuff like that from the end user. If you don't want to be there, please unsubscribe. We're paying for you anyway, so just go ahead and do that. And from the actual brand itself, unsubscribing is not a bad thing. It's actually you're learning, you're losing, you're growing, you're losing the people that you don't need. You're growing, you're shifting, and you're changing. It doesn't mean you're automatically doing something wrong. Now if you put out an email and 500 people unsubscribe, clearly
There's
something
something
has
wrong.
been wrong.
Which also that can be okay too, because you could exchange a controversial point that just happened in the United States where we stay at, or in your part of the world,
That is fair.
and now you're seeing that they don't agree with your beliefs, which is not a problem, but you need to know why you
Yeah.
got a whole bunch of people unsubscribe.
Right.
Or you
So
might have changed like your focus, right? Like
right.
I've had worked with folks before that they're like, oh, the people we coach now are not the people we ultimately like, right? Like I've changed my ICA. I've changed it. So there, if you start talking about new things, the people who are interested in the old things might be like, well, this isn't for me. Not a bad thing. You just have to be prepared for that, right? Like before you change things, I would sort of think through what's the impact on my business? Do I need to like do it over time? You know what I mean? Like you want to make sure that you're being really respectful to your audience, right? You don't want to, all of a sudden just shift gears. What I found super helpful is even just telling them like, hey, you know what? Like we're now offering this new thing, or like these are the people that we're really, interested in working with. And, some people will unsubscribe at that point. That's not bad. It's just they're like, hey, that's not me. Okay, that's what the unsubscribe button's for. Maybe they'll share with a friend.
No, that's what I'm saying. Like, and absolutely. And my thing is inviting people in, letting them know, hey, we're getting ready to go through a brand change. Hey, we're getting ready to go through a offer change. Hey, we are really interested and care about what's happening right now in the world. So you're going to hear a lot about this. Here's your cue to exit stage left. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is it. So it's like really important for you to communicate and have that conversation with them openly. And another thing that I always get is like, how do you know how much to sell, and how do you know how much to communicate? When you go into the year, if you're as evolved as I'm getting ready to say, then this is for you. If it's not, then it's not for you. But if you're a little evolved in your business, and like for the year, I know I'm selling in each quarter this, this, and this. You plan your sales emails around that. So the rest of the year, it's mostly growing, nurturing, and sharing that value. Tracy mentioned this earlier. Value is important. I don't care what business you have. If you're not giving valuable things to people that they didn't have to pay out of pocket for, it's going to be really hard to get them to go from those fans to those advocates. Plug for our other our other episode that we just did. You're really wanting to make sure that value is included in these stories that you're telling. And sometimes it is just like, I woke up this morning and something crazy happened and I wanted to share it with you all, because it's that intimacy, as Tracy said, your top of the funnel buzzword, where people enter into your world to meet you, rather that's in person, social media, whatever. Then they go down. This is more intimate. They're really wanting to know a little bit more about you. They're wanting to be more closer to you. They're wanting to be in your community, want to be a part of your world, because they do believe in what you're doing.
Also, like sometimes sales emails are valuable, right? Like there are brands that I sign up for just because I really do want to know when they're running a sale. Or even if they're not running a sale, I love it when they tell me like my favorite running shoes. I love it when they tell me that they've launched a new version of them, because I'm like, great. Like, me. Sometimes they'll make recommendations for socks I might like. Like people actually sign up for our emails because they might want to buy something. Like they actually that might be their goal too. So like to like Arielle and Yanta's point, like don't forget that, like, yeah, do you want to get a sales email every day? No, people are going to probably delete that. But people have probably signed up because they're generally interested in what you offer, and they think at some point they might want to actually buy that service or product from you.
Right.
And on that note, I want to leave them with a disclosure, Tracy. For those of you who've heard this conversation, decide, hey, you know what? I have an email list and I want to reactivate that email list and get it restarted. Start it slowly, because you don't want to go in email jail too. Because if you haven't been utilizing your email list for a minute and you reactivate and you send a whole bunch of emails all at one time, it can be considered spam. So slowly start your email list again and play with it. Try it out, have fun, so that you can see what we're talking about. And we'll love to hear how your email restart or just more engagement in your email is going on.
Yanta opened up the door for something else. Before we close out, you make sure you are following email regulations. If you have been a ghost for over a certain amount of time, it is illegal to reach out to people. You have to get them to reconfirm that they want to hear from you. So make sure you are staying up to date with the email regulations that are in place.
Yeah, 100%. It's always important to be compliant and respect people's preferences. You'll also get a lot more people sharing your stuff if you like. One, you always want to follow the rules. We're all a bunch of rule followers on this podcast. Two, people will actually share more of your stuff if you're a rule follower. Nobody's going to like share the thing with their friend that they're like, I have no idea how I got on this email list. Like that's not going to be the thing that happens, right? So one, it's just like the golden rule exists for a reason. And two, generally follow the real rules too. Awesome. Any closing thoughts on email before we wrap up?
No, like they say, talk to your lawyers. We're not lawyers on this call.
Always a good way to end. We ended with love your emails and started with love your emails and ended with talk to your lawyer. So it's a good podcast. Bookend. we also appreciate any likes, subscribes, and reviews. You don't want to miss any episodes. You never know, we're going to talk about something super, super interesting that you might want to know about. So hit that subscribe button on YouTube. Follow us on your favorite Facebook platform. And always leave us a review. We love a good 5-star review, and we love to hear how much you're loving the podcast. So with that, we will see you next week. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you so much for joining us. I hope you found something new that was helpful. And if not, I hope you had a good laugh with us. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe if you haven't already done so. The views expressed by the guests are their own and may not reflect the views of Behind the Buzzwords or the co-host. Mentions of particular books, digital tools, or strategies or participation of guests does not imply endorsement by Behind the Buzzwords or the co-host. This information provided is meant for educational and entertainment purposes and should not be taken as professional advice.